If we were building a Mount Rushmore of NBA players who were also rappers, I think Dame would probably be the first name to go up there.
Putting Shaq.
Today, we are going to be counting down our Mount Rushmores of the Portland Trailblazers. I'm Jeff Blagden.
And I'm Xavier Barnett.
And this is the Pure Point Project. So we just delved into the 76-77 NBA season, which was, of course, well, I say of course as if everybody should know what I'm about to say, but realistically, there's probably a very few amount of people that actually do. But the 76-77 season was the Portland Trailblazers' very first playoff appearance, and also their first and to date only NBA championship. Since 76-77, they've come a long way as a franchise, usually being consistently good, but never really great. They always kind of hang around. They seem like they have a decent team. They'll take a few years off and come back, but they're always just kind of hovering on just the outside looking in of the teams that you consider to be contenders.
And yeah, I don't disagree. We see it right now with
Well,
Damian
I was going to say a man that you can be sure is definitely going to be on both of our lists.
yeah.
Probably the most loyal or famously loyal guy in the NBA at the moment. So that, I mean, Blazers fans are lucky enough you do at least have not only probably in my mind the most loyal player in the NBA in Damian Lillard, but also probably the best rapper in the NBA.
Yeah, probably the best rapper. I mean, I haven't heard one single Damian Lillard song, but I don't. We'll go with that for now. I'll disagree.
If we were building a Mount Rushmore of NBA players who were also rappers, I think Dame would probably be the first name to go up there.
I'm putting Shaq.
I was gonna say you got to put Shaq up there just for the lulz, like just the comedic value. He's like the comedic relief of the group. But I gotta go. I mean, Dame's got to be number one for me. Yeah, like he's just he sounds like a professional rapper, and I'm not a big rap fan. I will admit that. I will put that out there. And honestly, it still sounds decent, Dame stuff. So for a guy who doesn't really like rap, so it's kind of saying something. However, it has very little to do with what he brings to a basketball franchise, and honestly, I feel sad for the Blazers as we go over this list because there are a lot of players that you can say something that happened off the court that wasn't really great at helping out their franchise on the court, limited them. By that, of course, I mean consistent injuries down every step of the path for the Blazers franchise. Probably three of the biggest what-if careers in NBA history in Bill Walton, Brandon Roy, and Greg Oden, all for the same team. When you think about the fact that the Blazers could have had Brandon Roy, Damian Lillard, Greg Oden, and LaMarcus Aldridge on the same team.
Yeah, that's a super team.
I mean,
talk about building through the draft. That's pretty much how you build through the draft, but
I mean, they might not have gotten Lillard, to be fair. If they had a healthy Roy, Oden, and Aldridge, they might not have been able to get a high enough pick to get Lillard. But even having Roy, Aldridge, and Oden, and like Brandon Roy didn't even touch what most people thought he could have been.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if he had a little bit more time, he'd be on this list for sure.
No, 100%. It's sad. The poor Trailblazers. You know At least they have a championship, though. You know, albeit it's been quite some time since they won it again. But yeah, and at least one of them on my other route, Rushmore, Bill Walton. He was part of that championship team, so I'm gonna put him on the Rushmore for him because I don't think there's a championship without him.
The saddest thing is that even still, they've won a championship more recently than the New York Knicks. Yeah, Bill Walton's got to be the number one, right? Like, Bill Walton's got to be the first guy that goes on the Mount Rushmore for the Trailblazers. They were nothing until he got there. We just said, 76-77 was their first playoff appearance. It was his third season in the league. Like, he was the difference, that got the Blazers over the top and into the and into this conversation at all. Like, really, what are the chances? I mean, I know it's kind of, hearsay, I guess, or whatever, but like, what do you think the chances are a franchise sticks around in Portland for as long as they did if it wasn't for Bill Walton coming there and breaking up the mediocrity? You see the impact of a franchise just stagnating for so long, right? Like, it's something that worries me, like, as a Pistons fan right now. Not that the franchise will go anywhere because they're the Pistons. They're not going anywhere, but they've been so mediocre for so long, and that's kind of what the Portland Blazers were stuck in until they finally got Bill Walton to free them from that. They hit a little bit more of a period of mediocrity for a little bit until the late 80s, when the guy who's probably, I feel safe saying he's probably number 2 on both of our lists here, came around, which is, of course, Clyde Drexler.
Mr. Drexler.
The guy who, in The Last Dance, most recently, Jordan famously said was worried was on his level. Clyde Drexler was never on Michael Jordan's level, but he is. He is on the level that puts him as the second player on, at least my, Portland Trailblazers Mount Rushmore.
He's second player on my Mount Rushmore as well. Can't really, like I said, Jordan was scared of him. I don't know why, because he's Jordan, but...
because Jordan just had to give himself a reason.
Yeah, he just looks for the littlest reasons.
He had to have a reason to care about playing Clyde Drexler.
And then we know, and you learn from The Last Dance, so yeah, he'll find a reason out of anything. But back to Drexler, yeah, just a legendary player for the Trailblazers, but unfortunately couldn't take him over the hump because he met a Michael Jordan.
You know what I find is the weirdest thing when I think about Drexler? I don't think about the Trailblazers. I think about Drexler in a Rockets uniform. I think about him, in Houston alongside Olajuwon, right? Like, I don't think, but like, he was a Blazer first. He was, he's the Blazers' all-time leader in win shares, right? So, he was there for, how many seasons did he spend in Portland? Like 12 seasons in Portland. He was only in Houston for like 3 or 4. But for whatever reason, when I picture the image of Clyde Drexler in my head, it's wearing that old school Houston's jersey. It's not wearing the Trailblazers jersey.
Man, poor, but yeah, that is the time when he did really notch it up, right? He's hooked up with Hakeem, and
yeah, like it was the tail end of his career. Obviously, he was 32 when he played his first game in Houston, but it just, I don't know, it stands out. I mean, it probably stands out because it's one of the better teams in NBA history. Really great teams that they had in Houston a few years there. When Clyde first got there, it was Hakeem, Clyde, Sam Cassell, who is incredibly underrated, Robert Horry, who everybody knows is the guy that everyone jumps to pad their argument that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. For whatever reason, he's the guy. It's on it's on Robert Horry's shoulders to prove to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, like great teams that they had there in Houston. Unfortunately, never really had that per se in Portland, especially when they brought Barkley in too, and they had Drexler, Barkley, and Olajuwon. It was just stupid good team. Eddie Johnson was on that team too. Kevin Willis was on that team. Stupid good team. But I just, it's, for whatever reason, maybe it's just because the Blazers are just such a boring team to imagine, like their jerseys and that, the black with the red and the white, they look good in the moment, but they're not memorable.
No, it's not. I would say even the logo for me isn't even memorable. It's just a swirl.
Yeah, it's
twister thingy. I don't know. Sorry for Trailblazer fans, but yeah, it's just it's not for me. But at least they got their championship, and they do have. I'm not gonna lie, even though the logo is very boring, they do have a very exciting player who's third on my list for the Mount Rushmore. It's Damian Lillard. He's just, who's to say, last year when he just hit that dagger over Paul George, that was so bad. It was just insane. I love that shot, and I'm a big fan of Damian, so he's he's up there for me. You know, it's hopefully one day he can bring him over the hump, but it's going to be tough with today's NBA.
I think even if Lillard wasn't ridiculously loyal, I think that shot alone might get him onto a franchise like the Blazers, Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Just for not only the significance of the shot, but it's like I read recently they did the all-time Team Canada hockey team, right? And Paul Henderson was on the list because of one shot, right? Just that shot to win that was the only thing Paul Henderson did, right? And Lillard's kind of the same way, although Lillard is a better basketball player than Henderson ever was a hockey player, right? Lillard's a multi-time All-Star, but I think that shot alone, if you're the Blazers franchise, gets you on that list. If someone else hits that shot, it gets if Terry Porter hits that shot, he's on this list, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just, but yeah, no, Damian Lillard's my number 3 too. I'm gonna skip over my number 4 right now to jump over to give you the lead in for this one, just because I think my number 4 is a little bit more off the wall. It's kind of a guy I picked more for heart. My own heart than the Blazers themselves, but when you have a team that had such a long stretch of mediocrity, I think that's kind of okay. So I'm gonna jump over to you first for your number
All right.
4.
So my number 4 is partner in crime of Damian. I'm gonna give my number 4 to see, for me it was debate. I'm still debating. I want to say, you know what, screw it. I'm giving it to CJ McCollum. He's getting it. He's getting the second pick. I think them together, they just need. I feel like he's going to be loyal to Trailblazers too. I think they have a real friendship going on between them. They're two real bros, and I think he'll be a great Trailblazers in times to come. So this is more thinking ahead into the future. I'm more than prepared to eat my words if I'm totally wrong, so that I'm prepared for that. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna go stay with CJ McCollum.
Question for you: ignoring injuries, if all 4 are perfectly healthy and in the primes of their careers, what backcourt do you like more, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, or John Wall and Bradley Beal?
I'd say Damian and CJ McCollum more than Bradley, John Wall and Bradley Beal.
See, I'd go the other way, and a lot of it is for the same reason as the guy that's 4th on my Mount Rushmore list. Is a lot of it is heart, because I can't shake the memories in my head from sitting in art class in grade 10 and watching highlights of John Wall in high school, right? Like when John Wall was first coming out and going before he went to Kentucky, when he put out his mixtapes and that, he was the first guy that I really, as a guy coming to high school, watched that like mixtape that they put out, right? The first that I remember, that, because they all do it now.
Yeah.
And yeah, some of them did it before and that too, but John Wall's is the first one to me that's really just wow, right? Either his or Derrick Rose's, and it's along the same kind of lines. They're both for the same reasons and that, but I think I just can't shake the image of that with John Wall and how good John Wall could have been if it wasn't for those injuries. I mean, we'll see if he comes back and hits the same level, but yeah, I got to go with the John Wall pick for that because of the heart, and the heart is the same reason I'm picking the guy who's 4th on my list for the Blazers Mount Rushmore, and that is Kiki Vanderweege, because I think he is one of the most criminally underrated players in the history of the NBA. This guy doesn't get the recognition for what he was able to do, not only for the Trailblazers, but throughout a much longer NBA career than what people realize he had. He's kind of a footnote when people bring him up, but he played for almost 13 seasons, right, in the NBA. Shot an incredibly good percentage from 3-point for a guy who was really a stretch 4 before stretch 4s were a big deal, right? Like, he was one of the original stretch 4s who would take his game inside and outside as a small forward or power forward, depending on which lineup you fit him into. His time in Portland, he spent 4 full seasons in Portland, averaged 22 points, 24 points, 27 points, and 20 points.
Jeez.
So that 20 point per game season, get this, came in only 7 starts. I mean, it was only 37 games he played that season, but in just 7 starts, playing 28 minutes per game, he put up 20 a game.
Wow.
Shot 51% and 38% from 3 as well, and 88% from the free throw line. Even more impressive was the season before. He played 79 games, started all 79, played 38 minutes per game, shot 53% from the field goal line, on field goals, 48%, which led the league on threes, 88% on free throws, and put up 26.9 points per game.
Okay, I can see why he's on the Mount Rushmore now. It's not totally left field now that you bring the numbers.
Here's the thing. He only played 4.5 seasons with them, right? 4.5 seasons with the franchise. They weren't particularly great during that time. Like, they didn't win a championship. They didn't have any iconic moments. They were consistently decent while he was there. But that kind of defines the majority of the Portland Trailblazers franchise history, right? Is they were consistently decent. So who better to put on the Mount Rushmore that's supposed to identify and symbolize this team than the guy who was also, on the teams that were consistently mediocre, consistently average, consistently decent, right, throughout his time there. I think it perfectly defines the Trailblazers.
Okay, that's a good reason. You probably pissed off a bunch of Trailblazer fans, but it's I'm with you. I'll stand by you.
It's fine.
So
wait till we get to the Wizards Bullets franchise. Then we'll see how many fans I piss off there. Let's put Michael Jordan number 1 on the Mount Rushmore. No. We'll try to highlight as many teams as we can. Until then, keep it locked here on the Pure Point Project and find all of the latest basketball information that we have going out there for you during these stressful quarantine times when you're looking for anything to fill your day.
See you later, and stay safe out there, guys.